everyone, D-Rock here with another stream. It is Friday, November 11th, 9:13 a.m. Central Standard Time. If you're watching us live, happy Veterans Day to those of you here in the United States and across the country. Your service is, thank you for your service. Crypto market cap sitting at $856 billion. Bitcoin dominance sitting at 38%, ETH dominance 18.1%. Since yesterday, Bitcoin has come down a little bit. It was trying to get up to 18,000, but got rejected. It dumped this morning. Right now, we're sitting at 16,843. For ETH, we're sitting at 1252. BNB sitting at 285. Cardano sitting just under 35 cents. Dogecoin 8.25 cents roughly. Matic just above $1. Polkadot at 567. Solana has yet to recover, and I think there's clear evidence as to why that is. Kind of discussed this yesterday and the day before. Sam Bankman-Fried was dumping his soul bags, cover his position in FTT token, which has lost incredible amounts of it's dropped a credible amount in a short period of time. Taking a look at Dow Jones, the stock market is down a little bit for the day, just under 0.25% at 77.80 points. Are we potentially seeing a lower high here from the high back on August 16th? I personally think we will be seeing a high here or lower high somewhere around here. This ballpark clearly under 34,000, but again, time will tell. Just speculating. Taking a look at the Bitcoin 1 hour chart, these little dashed orange lines are just basically alerts to let me be aware if Bitcoin drops to these prices. That way I can scoop some. I will buy a little bit around 16.5. Not going to lie. That's not to say I will throw a lot of money at that price point, but if we get down here, I'm going to buy a bit heavier. So again, layering in. Bitcoin's pretty much the only crypto I'm looking at this current point in time with all the volatility. Again, look at this. Just in the past 3 hours, Bitcoin was holding pretty strong above 17K, and then here in the past 2 hours, Bitcoin had faced some the bears took control of the market and drove price action just above 17,000. Bulls tried to pick up the ball and drive price action above 17,300. They were unable to do that successfully. So bears drove the price down to roughly 16,350 looks like, or maybe 60. And now the bulls are trying to get above $17,000 right now, which looks to be, for the time being, again, since this market's so volatile, can change in a heartbeat. But it looks like the bulls are having some struggle trying to get back above 17K besides these candles right over here. Look, the bears are putting a good amount of resistance there for the bulls. Again, looking at the 1 day chart, things are not looking too great for Bitcoin. We haven't seen these prices. If we go way, way, way back, haven't seen these prices, you guys, since like 2018, early 2018, late 2017. So Bitcoin has come down a considerable amount. Taking a look at the dollar index, DXY, the dollar is dropping further. So I'm not exactly sure as to why crypto and stocks are both, facing some downside pressure if the dollar is actually losing value. When the DXY goes down, stocks and crypto goes up, typically speaking, and the reverse is true as well. So kind of interesting. I think Um, I think sentiment for the winters is starting to set in as people realize that things aren't getting any cheaper. With the revelation that CPI is at 7.7% year over year compared to last year. Back in February, we were screaming like this this crybaby over here. And now we're like, "Woo! Inflation's only 7.7%. We peaked. Everything's all right. Things are going to get better." But are they? That's the real question. Everyone's focused on CPI being lower than it was expected. It was supposed to be 7.9. We got 7.7. The negative side to all of this, again, I'm a pretty optimistic person, but we can't ignore this. Inflation's still rampant. Rates are up roughly 400 basis points. Credit market froze. M&A froze. No new issues. Mortgages down 90%. Tech crash happening. Crypto crash. Recession highly probable. I think it's certain at this point. It's a certainty. Unemployment's rising. Oil will probably go up. I think that's kind of a given, considering the diesel shortage here in the United States. And that'll, again, like we've discussed in previous videos, that will uh, increase the prices on goods and services. Droughts and food crisis, wars, World War III, the potentiality for that's pretty high. Wall Street Journal just begging you once again to stop being so poor. They're like, oh, you know what? We know you're poor, but you know what? You want to avoid mortgage rates on a house, you know, just buy it with cash, because everyone can do that right now. Jim Cramer warns that growth stocks could see more horror after CPI data release. Again, you have to counter trade Jim Cramer. I'm hoping some of you took profits yesterday if you were in the green and stonks. I think we're going to go lower inevitably. May not happen today, may not happen Monday, but I think like we saw last year, a lot of people sold out their stonks and their crypto to basically tax loss harvest, and I think we're gonna see something similar here in the next 6 weeks. So I'm really only dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin at this point as a result. And again, days like today, this is referring to yesterday, don't happen in bull markets and is by no means a signal to pile into stocks. In 2000 to 2002, the Nasdaq had 14 up days of 6% or more, and you would have been wrong 14 times if you thought the bottom was in. Imagine we're in a similar scenario. I'm not saying we exactly are, but history rhymes. And if this is any indicator of what's to come or what we may be facing, not good. Recession, what recession? Amazon becomes the world's first public company to lose $1 trillion in market value. Let that sink in. Michael Saylor on CNBC said the principle of Bitcoin is you can trust the CEO, company, custodian, or bank. In his own words, he said, you should be able to hold your own keys, run your own node. Absolutely agree, Michael Saylor. He's still permable. This is really big, you guys. Shell, one of the world's largest oil and gas companies, will be speaking about Bitcoin mining at the Bitcoin 2023 conference. But that's probably nothing to pay attention to. Could we potentially see these oil and gas companies start incorporating Bitcoin mining at their refineries, maybe using excess gas that they would normally just shoot up into the air and actually use that energy to mine Bitcoin? I don't know. Maybe the narrative's changing a bit with coin and these big corporations. Time will tell. 2.751 billion USDT was transferred from Binance to an on wallet. Seems like someone is learning the whole KYC. But is this CZ? That's it's not a small amount. If we were just talking maybe a few 100,000 or maybe even a few million, we wouldn't really be questioning where this is going to exactly and who it belongs to, but is this going to be reflected in Binance's proof of reserves? It hasn't been reflected on their balance sheet yet, so I don't know. Just in crypto.com accounts are being disabled without users being provided the reason. I can personally verify that my account is permanently suspended from their exchange, hashtag CRO. What's crazy about this is like 2 days ago, I realized I had like maybe $200, $300 in crypto.com and like Matic, and I just converted it into Bitcoin because the exchange rate was rather was pretty good because Matic has been doing rather well as of late, but I moved that Bitcoin off of crypto.com. Are they going to be with are they going to be stopping withdrawals pretty soon? I think it's very likely. This whole FTX debacle seems to have affected many other companies. Many other companies have, I guess, been doing business with them one way or another. F me, this is contagious. Prime Trust putting this out just, this looks to be from last night. So, um, 3, 4 p.m. when they put this out yesterday. It is not possible for Prime Trust to opine on the specifics of how insolvency proceedings would unfold, this time given current precedent, especially with respect to digital assets. There are many unknowns in bankruptcy law regarding the way a custodian's insolvency would apply to the assets the custodian holds, regardless of who's custodian. Historically, the goal of any insolvency proceeding has been to ensure that property assets are returned to the rightful owner, aka the customer, especially when the assets of such customers are carefully kept, and then that's where it cuts off. But yeah, more trouble on the horizon potentially. Another one, Genesis takes $175 million hit in FTX collapse. Genesis put this out yesterday as part of our goal in providing transparency around this week's market events. The Genesis derivatives business currently has $175 million in locked funds in our FTX trading account. This not affect our market making activities. Furthermore, our operating capital and net positions FTX are not material to our business. Circumstances surrounding FTX are not impeding the full functioning of our trading franchise. Again, time will tell whether this is true or not, but usually when they say everything's fine, the reverse is true. This guy, El Capo of crypto, said yesterday I heard rumors about Huobi. Now I see a lot of withdrawals from it, and the HT chart looks ugly AF. These are just rumors, but better safe than sorry. Um, People are learning their lesson with the whole thing with FTX. You know, they're not willing to take chances. Look, BlockFi pausing withdrawals. We are shocked and dismayed by the news regarding FTX and Alameda. Like the rest of the world, found out about this situation through Twitter, given the lack of clarity on the status of FTX.com, FTX US, and Alameda. We are not able to operate business as usual. Our priority has been and will continue to protect our clients and their interests until there's further clarity. We're limiting platform activity, including pausing client withdrawals as allowed under our terms. We will share more specifics as soon as possible. We request that clients not deposit to BlockFi wallet or interest accounts at this time. We intend to communicate as frequently as possible going forward, but anticipate that this will be less frequent than what our clients and our stakeholders are used to. Yeah, not a good look, BlockFi. Confirmed BlockFi has hired bankruptcy counsel today. That's pretty scary stuff. I have a friend who's in the middle of a withdrawal. They put through their withdrawal a few days ago. Hasn't been processed yet, so fingers crossed he gets his funds. Trezor users can now buy and sell non KYC Bitcoin person to person directly from their hardware wallets. Quite timely. Very good for Trezor. I'm glad they're allowing um, you to buy and sell non KYC person to person, peer to peer. I think that's a good move on Trezor's end. Tron founder Justin Sun says he's ready to provide billions to help FTX. Bloomberg reports. Again, does this mean something, you know? Is there more to this, or is he just trying to look good? Pull a CZ like the other day. Alameda CEO Claire explains why decentralized exchanges are pointless when you have FTX and FTT.
Well, like, what's the point? Like, why would you want to trade on a FTX? You can just trade on FTX or whatever.
I love that clip. uh, Claire, oh my goodness, so dumb. I thought her name was Caroline. I don't know. I don't really give an F at this point. But FTX has turned on withdrawals, but only for users in the Bahamas who already KYC'd. Go figure. I'm sorry, but that basically only applies to FTX employees and friends of the firm. What a joke. It's such a slap in the face. And guess what? FTX assets frozen by Bahamas Securities Commission. And this is the current state of the unofficial FTX bankruptcy proceedings. Look at this. This guy, Al God or AI God Trading, says if anyone helps me KYC on FTX, I'm giving 100K. I already submitted everything and I need from FTX to process it. I'm KYC, no DMs needed anymore. Here, this guy took out a whopping, looks to be like upwards of 2 million USDT out of FTX, while regular customers like you and me, I don't have anything on FTX at this point, but I did at one point. We are caught just waiting. And because of assholes like this, less and less money will be distributed to customers like you and me. In difficult times like these, time of greed, massive opportunity lost, people show their true colors. AI God buying accounts for pennies on the dollar and using bribes to employees to withdraw it when a lot of people have just lost everything. Dirty as fuck. FTX funds are liquid. If everyone withdrew their balance, they won't have enough to pay out their customers. Banks sweating nervously in the corner, like, oh shit, we've seen this before. And that's the thing. We're gonna see a similar thing on the banks. It just takes time. Um, we'll probably have some bank runs at some central banks here in the next year. I wouldn't. It would not surprise me if that were to happen. If you think FTX's collapse is going to set the space back years upon years, just remember it's only been 5 months roughly since Voyager collapsed along with Celsius, and hardly anyone learned their lesson. Give it 3 months, most will have forgotten this. The crypto crowd has the shortest memory span of almost any industry. Greed is one hell of a drug. I guess you can chalk it up to that. Thank God Gary Gensler chose to protect us from, check notes, Kim Kardashian. Are you effing kidding me, Gary? So now there's speculation that Gary Gensler and Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX were actually colluding with one another. So that way FTX could essentially have a monopoly here in the US when it comes to crypto. So just to recap of what the SEC has done, along with Alameda Research, GBTC, etc., the SEC denied the Bitcoin ETF. Grayscale Bitcoin is the only option for retail, which is equals 100% premium. GBTC creation trade made Central Finance and Three Arrows Capital huge. And Three Arrows Capital and Central Finance, next trade hunt, leads to the UST Ponzi moon. UST blows up in the faces of Three Arrows Capital and Central Finance. Alameda Research and FTX held the bag and hid it. Alameda FTX blows up. Thank you, SEC and Gary Gensler. Looking a little bit further into Sam Bankman-Fried's history and his lineage and his family, we can look into this. Look on April 25th, 2019. Again, not trying to get political about it, but this does matter. Joe Biden announces presidential campaign. 13 days later, on May 8th, 2019, Sam Bankman-Fried, son of Barbara Fried, the co-founder of the political fundraising organization Mind the Gap and Get Out the Vote organizations, including the Center for Voter Information, launches the FTX crypto exchange. The exchange is an overnight success that enables Sam to become the second biggest donor to the Biden campaign. Really makes you think. Be Mrs. Freed launched totally grassroots Democrat PAC in July 2018. Wonder how you're going to raise enough funds to make a difference. Your son coincidentally becomes a multi-billionaire a few months later, roughly a year later. And sometimes things just have a way of working themselves out, I guess. Crazy stuff, you guys. Like, how deep does this rabbit hole go? Uh, Like, this rabbit hole is going pretty deep so far, and we're only in a few days into this debacle. In weeks' time, God knows where we're gonna be. White House now saying that cryptocurrencies risk harming everyday Americans, and prudent regulation is needed. Go F yourself. FTX's failure doesn't justify a rush to regulate in the US. FTX is a non US exchange based in the Bahamas. By design, it didn't have any US customers so that it wouldn't be subject to US jurisdiction. There is no law Congress can pass to prevent the failures of an offshore firm, and this is true. I do like the idea of offshore, not offshore. I do like the whole idea of proof of reserves, like Binance, Huobi, and etc. Were kind of throwing the idea out there a few days ago. I like that idea, but even that's not totally safe. You can still get rug pulled. Not your keys, not your crypto. Just keep small amounts of money on exchanges. Don't don't have large percentage of your portfolio on there. Not financial advice, but I think it'll serve you well to kind of not have so much stake in the game, especially on the exchanges. Russia and the U.S. are to hold nuclear arms treaty talks in Cairo, Egypt. It's coming from this morning at 3 a.m. Central Standard Time. Pretty crazy stuff. Just to recap, on BRICS. This is huge. Over a dozen countries now applied to join BRICS, including Algeria, Iran, and Argentina. The multipolar order is taking shape before our very eyes. If expanded, BRICS um, would comprise over half the global population, 60% of global gas, and 45% of global oil reserves. So the red countries are current BRICS members, and the orange ones highlighted here are countries that are looking to join BRICS in the near future. UN official is warning more than 50 of the poorest developing countries are in danger of defaulting on their debt and becoming effectively bankrupt. Own some gold, protect yourself. In my opinion, own some Bitcoin, protect yourself, and keep it on a hardware wallet like a Trezor, Ledger, etc. What the Evergrande property collapse means for China and the global economy. China's trying to keep this under wraps, but in December 9th, 2021, we learned that the property giant Evergrande missed their debt payment deadline. That has huge consequences. There are companies that do business with evergreen firms, Evergrande firms, including construction design firms and interior suppliers that are at risk at incurring major losses, which could force them into bankruptcy. Chinese property Evergrande liabilities exceeds $300 billion, and they're failing to meet the payments. This slow motion collapse of a property giant is already having massive consequences for the entire world. The ripple effects will be felt for years to come as the global economy tries to grapple with what this means for China's growth and their own. Yeah, not looking good for Evergrande over in China. This is pretty wild. Democrat reelected by a landslide in Pennsylvania, even though he's dead. Win by longtime state representative Tony DeLuca, who died last month, triggers special election that will be held on a later date. Like, come on, how do you vote for a dead man? He's been dead like for a few weeks now. I don't know. Maybe we can chalk it up to early mail-in voting or something. Maybe these people voted for Tony DeLuca before he passed. I mean, that is entirely possible, but I don't know. I'm more convinced that people will just vote down party lines no matter what. Arizona election results delayed until after weekend. It's coming out of Maricopa County that had an issue last election season. But look who was inside the ballot rooms. Katie Hobbs. It's timestamp too. So this lady who's running for governor in the state of Arizona is in the room that they count ballots. And the judge in Arizona had the audacity to say that there was no conflict of interest. Like, what is this shit that's going on? Like, do they think we're retarded? Do they think we're stupid? Clearly a conflict of interest there, but not going to get too political, but that's BS. And you know what? We're seeing similar things coming out of other states, malfeasance, foul play. But they're saying just look the other way, don't pay attention. But that about does it for today's stream, you guys. I'm not sure whether I will stream on Monday, but if I do, I will tweet it out. So follow me over on Twitter at at drice nice. And I'll leave you with this clip. Hopefully, you guys enjoy the stream. Please like and subscribe. Hit notification bell to be notified when we go live next. Please share the video with friends, family. Let's destroy the algorithm. It shouldn't be suppressing our content, censoring our freedom of speech. But here, I'll leave you with Eric Voorhees in a single word. So what he says about FTX
This
and
needs
Alameda.
to be the center example of the compliant exchange actually being riskier with customer money than what the unregulated, non-compliant DeFi apps would be doing. Like to be loaning customer deposits to a risky counterparty to such a degree that a decline like this, which is very foreseen, right? Like a 10, 20, 30% drop in crypto prices is not unheard of. That they would do that while going to Washington, D.C. to beg for more regulations to protect people is unforgivable if that's what happened. So let's reserve judgment on that until we know, but the fuck.
For real, what the F? Until next time, guys, take care and invest wisely. Have a great weekend. I will be out in Ohio checking out James Gang, Black Keys, 9 Inch Nails, The Breeders, and Dave Grohl's special guesting. So until Monday, potentially.